Some big milestones this week. First canter under saddle, first jump under saddle, both of which went well. And it was hard won. We had to do some serious prep work to get to this point. And yes, there were lows along the way. All right, backing up to the start of the week, started with a lot of groundwork again, lunging over some jumps or through them there. I was working on this problem here where she drifts out of the circle and wants to drag me towards home. That has been a common theme for us. The other common theme is where she spooks herself right there when the sand spushes against the door. And I have gone down there and stood there and, spushed some sand against the door and done some tension release. But when she's on the lunge and she's further from me, it takes me quite a while to bring her back to some semblance of a learning brain versus a reacting brain. She's completely off balance, which is not helping her slow down. She's switching her canter leads all over the place. Sometimes she's switching the front lead, sometimes she's switching the hind lead. All of these things are contributing to stress. And then you watch how she kind of takes off, and I'm trying to just turn her through the gap to bring her focus to the present versus the tension. So there we go. Still interesting to note how her hind legs moved through that gap, right? Like she did that weird little kick up. Another indication that we're just lacking some of that proprioception and lacking that finer control of her hind limb. That a horse with both more experience and less soundness history. I don't want to say she's unsound, but her pelvis is not functioning at full capacity. And we know that with the twisting hind limbs, the weakness, and the fact that she had a foal. Now we've chose to canter again after she had calmed down, but yeah, easy. It happens. That door makes sounds. Easy. The panic at the door became a problem again. So I'm really thinking, okay, look, I don't want to ride a canter that is like that at this point. I need to really focus on this particular issue in our training before I even attempt to ride the canter. I am able to get her back to relaxation. You can see when I put my hand in the air and cluck, she's remembering that's a signal to relax. So then we move on to the next things and she starts to settle in. However, you can still see when that kicking of the sand comes up, she gets worried.
Beautiful. Good.
If you're liking this series, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think and what you want to see more of as our journey continues.
Yeah. Good.
Remember the last video how I was saying we were preparing for an eventing clinic that we were hosting? Well, this is the clinic weekend. We have lots of jumps up and there's lots of horses. I did not ride Phantom in the clinic. She was not ready for that. But what I did do at the end of the day is my friends and I brought all of our young horses in and let them kind of like walk over all the stuff, lunge over some of it. And then Phantom, she's farther along, so then we did ride over some of the obstacles and she did really well, like in the environment with lots of activity, things to look at. There were new jumps that got brought into our facility, so stuff she's never seen, horses that she's never met, and she handled it really well.
Today Phantom was running around in her pen and they were all hyper and playing and she slipped on ice. So I brought her in, I groomed her, and she seemed just a little bit tender when I was brushing her on her right side. So I thought, okay, well, I might as well just put her out in the lunge and so I can see if there is an injury there, because I can't actually see anything else besides the fact that she's a little tender when I brushed her.
Sure enough, on the lunge, she looks a little bit off. And again, she fell, yes, but this problem has been kind of coming and going through my training. I stopped the lunging and started investigating. And then how nice is it to have awesome friends that know things? So my friend here is a body worker and she saw me stretching Phantom. So she came up and asked me what was going on. And she was like, here, let me take a look.
She seems to be a little offy on her left front. And I'm like, looking at her, I'm like, is this swollen, this knee? Or am I just seeing it? Because she also has this as an injury she got when I first got her.
Okay.
And I'm like, is that bothering her? Because she was fine on it for a while.
Ooh. Turns out she had a rib out there and a really tight shoulder and no concerns lower limb, which is a huge relief.
Oh, she was. I've been noticing like tender all of a sudden because I've been doing lots of belly lifts, and all of a sudden she got like more tender about me touching her belly.
Oh, are you thanking her? Did she just fix you? I can tell you, yes, she definitely fixed her, because next week when we start to canter under saddle, she was way better. Having had one day off between that bodywork session, I'm noticing that she's walking a lot more freely. So I'm going to lunge her just to get a baseline for her movement before I decide if it's worth putting a ride on her today. Yay, and her movement was so much better after that bodywork session 2 days ago. Incredible. Good girl. That's a good horse. Oh, good job. And I did a quick ride, just worked on her moving a little bit sideways off my leg. So right there was like a mini leg yield, and then a little trot, halt, done. Good girl. Whoa. Good girl.
I have been sick all week, so Phantom has done a lot of nothing. But in the meantime, while I was sick, the weather has turned nice and a lot of snow has melted. We're gonna go on our first walk around the yard through all the mud. So we'll see what she does being outdoors. And we have a nice little escort with us too. My sister's gonna come along on her horse that behaves really nicely. We'll walk around the yard and then I'll get a gauge of, oh, she's already passing me. Already forgotten a few things here. So we'll have to go through all the reminding of how to be led. As soon as you're in a new place, it's common that the horse will revert to the thing that they were doing for the longest amount of time, which was for her being a racehorse and leading people, dragging people around the yard. This will be a walk around the yard and a reminder of that she just needs to worry about the space between her and I will worry about everything else. It's worth doing this stuff on the ground before you try to ride, because if we were riding out here, it'd just be a lot of tension, feeling like I'm holding her back with the reins. We're on the ground, I can just be a lot safer and help her deal with her tension in a way that is actually probably going to get her to feel more relaxed quicker. Next training session, can your horse walk under trees without panicking? All right, I'm gonna hit some tree branches with my stick. No. That is considered panicking when you run past me. This is good training. Hey, no passing. She's definitely trying to rush through here. There, I'm hitting sticks. We were gonna go show the horses all the fake sheep over there. Hey, okay, back to the trees. This way, stay on the same side of the tree as me. I'm hitting the, I'm hitting the trees with my stick. She doesn't care. Now we're having a little snacky poo break. The first little blades of green grass. Yum, yum, yum. Teaching her she can relax in the presence of a human in a new place.
Here we are out in my cross-country field for the first time. I walk her around, let her look at everything. I trot over some things, just trying to get a gauge of how she's handling the new place. There she got a little bit frisky. It was really windy as well. Another recipe for way too frisky of a horse. Better. I'm checking. Do I have go, stop, turn? Where's her brain at? Once I felt like I had enough control, I could lunge her instead of lead her. I move on to that, but that got a little bit frisky and out of control quickly. The ground was good. There was a little bit of wet dirt still underneath that I was concerned about her slipping. Ah, there she goes. I was trying to keep her slow, but she's a thoroughbred, and so you can see now she's escalating, and I am doing my best to remind her of all the things we practiced in the indoor about, okay, calm down. But it's understandable that new place outside, and I'm asking her to do all this stuff, that she quickly escalates and kind of reverts to her track brain. So now I'm gonna take the time to do a tension release and then start again slow, because I really don't want her going really fast and scaring herself. We stayed in this area for a while. I tried to keep things simple. She was a little over exuberant because lots of times she would just trot over that size of a log. But she's actually jumping out here because she's a little more extra. And you can see she was still continuing to like try to push to the barn. And then when she would speed up facing the barn, then she would like take off and all these things. So then I was like, okay, I need to be more important in this situation right now because she's not even thinking about me. So I went and I grabbed my clappers because I felt like the clappers would help bring her focus to me because she was ignoring all my really subtle cues that she had been consistently responding to in the indoor, which would be like my body language, my voice. Out here, her radar is out and she just needs me to be that much more clear. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna grab my clappers. She'll be able to hear me over the wind this time. And hopefully she'll remember what we worked on in the arena is that there's an external distraction, but that she can still think about herself and self-regulate. And it did work. I was actually really impressed with how at first it almost escalated her, but then she started to kind of click in her brain and go, oh yeah, right. I don't have to be in this state of panic. And actually, I feel better when I'm not. Once she was relaxed in that spot, we moved to a new location where we had more space. And this is where you always go, oh, should I just left it there? Because then she escalated. As soon as we were pointed towards home, you see she took off there. And then she's slipping and sliding. And, you know, for a moment here, it looks like things are becoming reasonable and she's starting to think. But then all of a sudden, she's gone off to the races. And here I'm trying not to turn her because I don't want her to fall, but I'm also trying to get a handle on this speed and slow her down. And just terrible. I felt absolutely horrible because I was really trying not to fight her. And at the same time, I was trying to slow her down. Her brain was just completely not with me there. And the faster she went on the circle, the more she escalated. I don't know, you know, you think, okay, that was a mistake on my part. Should we not have even come out in the field? But then if you don't go do hard things, you don't learn and you don't progress. So this is my internal struggle is sometimes you feel like you pushed too hard and you went too far. And then other days you're like, hey, I'm not doing enough. I'm kind of being lazy or slack. Training horses is hard and it's hard to know what is the right next step. And so I'm sure lots of you guys are probably watching thinking that was not the right next step because you made your horse fall down. I feel terrible and I wish that didn't happen. And in the moment I was trying my best not to lose control because I knew that if I dropped that lead, there could be a way more dangerous situation to come. If she's running with a lead behind her across a field with lots of obstacles, she could get tangled. So yeah, I don't know. What would you have done? Comment below and let me know what you would have done. After doing a little bit of movement patterns and reminding her to not cut in on the far side of the circle and then not drift out on the side close to home, I went back to that area just to lunge slowly and end on a positive note, which we did. And then I moved around the field to another spot, pulled my clappers out right away to keep bringing her brain back to me. But you can see how like her brain comes back to me / herself very momentarily, and then it's gone, which I suppose is probably to be expected with a horse whose associations to being outside in open spaces is galloping. We were able to end with a decent right canter, and she came back to me. And even with a little bit of the head sass at the end, this is much improved. She stayed out on that side of the circle, which is away from home, and I was able to end it there. Regardless of how bad the middle was, the end was still good.
Phantom lunged around awesome today. Her canter was great. And so today's the day we're going to see her canter under saddle. I got my vest on. Don't mess around.
As always, when I first get on, I'm checking to make sure I have steering and brakes. So here, a little leg yield, which is that sideways movement, making sure I can move her away from my leg, which is going to help with steering, making sure we're not worried about any obstacles in the arena. Here, she was leaning to the inside of the circle and pushing on my inside leg here. I'm correcting that first, and then making sure, again, I have brakes after a correction, because sometimes the corrections, they can get a little frustrated with. So brake, good. Getting the trot moving a little more forward now. Now keeping that lengthened trot on the circle where I plan to canter in a moment.
Yeah. It's looking nice, Shara. She's really reaching under herself nicely.
Good. Here I'm about to ask for canter, so I sit, I move her out, and then I ask. She kind of goes, maybe, or you can see the thought there. And then I reorganize because I don't want her to canter now from a scrambling trot. Canter attempt number 2. Asking, she thinks, so I reward, rebalance again, and canter attempt number 3. This time she responds.
Good job! Yay!
Good girl.
Good girl!
Good girl.
Good job! She's got a big stride.
Around the circle and one more attempt to confirm, and this one's even better. I have to apologize for my equitation. I couldn't decide between if I would sit, half seat, and then I think I was like, oh yeah, right, she's a colt, be ready.
Oh! He's my horse. My girl. That was nice. That was really good. Yes.
Going the other way, I moved the circle down the arena a little bit, made sure I could slow her down. And then here's a canter attempt number 1. I could feel her attempt it. And then we lost balance here and she started to get tense. So reorganized, all good. Canter attempt number 2, you'd see her try. And then we're getting in a pretty big running on the forehand trot. So rebalance. Attempt 3 right here.
Pay attention to her head.
Good girl. She's really thinking about it.
Yeah.
Canter attempt number 4. And this is the 1.
Correct lead too.
I also want to say how much I appreciate being able to slow down this horse so easily. So making sure we have those before we did this was important, and it's paid off. Here I try another canter, and I should have shut it down here because she was running. Wrong lead. Whoopsies. I was being greedy. And try again. There it is. Kept her in a better shape and putting her weight on her outside front. Happy with that. That's where I'm gonna end it.
I'm so happy with Phantom and her canter yesterday. So today I want to do that again and maybe now trot her over some poles and I don't know, maybe see if we trot over a cross rail. I've got all my safety gear on. I've got my flak vest. I have my neck rope. And if you'll notice too, we've leveled up and I don't have the halter under the bridle with the lead rope anymore because I do feel like I have fairly good control now with the bridle and she understands it. Today's like a really big girl ride for us today. So let's see how she does. Oh.
She's starting to draw to the mounting block and understand all those things. Then I did a quick warm up over some of the raised poles, made sure I had some steering, stop and go, leg yielding, and it was a busy arena. There was other people riding around and she was able to maintain her focus with me. All steps in the big girl direction.
Good girl. Good girl.
Then I popped in a little canter left, still a bit of a running into transition, but I mean, this is her only second ridden canter. And then a little canter right, past the buddies and everything. And we did a straight line on the second day of cantering. Pretty happy with that. Next day.
Back. She's waiting, look at, she's waiting for a cookie, but she's a little too far. Back. Right there. Perfect.
Phantom likes to sniff poop.
Leg yield. Yeah. Ooh, that was really good. All right, let's go a little trot. Little looky looky. Little looky loo.
My thinking today is that I would like to trot over a couple of jumps and see how she goes.
Oh, she's locking on that jump. She was locking on. Oh my gosh, this here. So I just want to canter before I trot over the jump so that she's warmed up enough. We're not looking at it, we're not looking at it, we're not looking at it, we're not looking at it. Good girl. Nope, wrong. Yeah, good job. Lovely, lovely. Good girl.
Check out how this horse locks onto the jump right back there from the corner. She's keen.
Good job. Good.
She scares herself a bit here.
Good job. Good job.
I love how confident she was to this. And the nice little canter away, nice and straight, balanced. I couldn't be more happy. I did it again to make sure we didn't have a problem with that jump. You can see on the approach how I kind of get in the back of the saddle just in case.
I thought she would want to canter over these, but she didn't, which is fine. Now let's do a little purposeful canter to get one more transition in. If I aim at a jump, I might. Who knows? Who knows? Yes. Beautiful. Okay, we're going. Beautiful. That was beautiful.
I just have to cut out my own audio because I'm annoying myself with how much I say you're such a good horse. Okay, it's overdone. Oh. But am I happy with her? Yes.
I was trying to turn her and she was locked on the jump. So I was like, okay, we're jumping. Yeah, we're doing it.
And that concludes what happens in the last couple weeks. Yay, Phantom, cantering, jumping. And if you are liking this content and you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Much more exciting stuff to come.